Welcome to Steam Engines and Music. This episode is all about using a Yamaha Tyros 4 music keyboard. Part 1. The basic functions of this amazing machine. My YouTube channel developed from being a general purpose channel about things that I do to one all about steam engines. And what I've found is a lot of people who are into steam engines are also very much into music, and vice versa, including quite a few famous people. Over now to some details about the Yamaha Tyros 4. The first thing you have to do is turn it on, and it takes a moment or two before it fully boots into its operating system. This shot of the keyboard shows the Yamaha Tyros 4, which is now an old model. It was superseded by the Tyros 5, and then currently by something called the Genos. The current models are quite expensive, but this one's a few years old, and it was surprisingly not expensive, and I bought it via the auction site that we all know and love. When you turn on the keyboard, it comes up with the piano sound. The Tyros piano sound is quite good, but there are better digital pianos out there. This Tyros 4 is much more than a piano, much more. It's a complete multi-track workstation. You can record into it and play back your recordings and even make MP3s of the end results. What I'm going to try and do in this video is show you the Tyros 4 in a way you've never seen it before. There are many really good demos out there on the web. This, by the way, is the Tyros rock organ sound. And for a Hammond organ clone, it's really not that bad, but this is just the tip of the iceberg. I used to be a musician, but I'm alright now, and I used to carry around a Hammond C3 organ and two Leslie 145s. They were very heavy to carry about, and that was just for the organ sound. On the Tyros 4, here's another one of the organ sounds. The Leslie rotary speaker effect is controlled by one of the wheels at the left-hand side. In this video, it's only a really quick demo to show you what it can do. You've just heard 3 of the basic organ sounds, and here is the basic classical string sound. I'm playing everything in a very easy key, mainly in the key of C, so you can figure out what I'm doing. I'm not trying to sell you a Tyros 4 or Tyros 5 or a Genos. I have nothing to do with the Yamaha. And also, I'm trying not to do anything clever. This is all very simple stuff. It's mainly the keyboard that makes it sound acceptable. I took music lessons from the age of 16 until I was about 19, and then I went on a summer season with a band. In that short time, I took the Royal Schools of Music piano exams up to grade 5, although I freely admit I am not a piano player. You've been listening to some examples of vocal and choir sounds. But on this keyboard you can link the sounds together. Here is a combination of the string sound that you heard earlier with a choir added. In this video I'm going to periodically stop talking so you can hear what I'm doing and hear what the Tyros is capable of. Here's one of the many guitar sounds. I have 2 of these Tyros keyboards. This one is just a standalone and you're hearing it through its own speakers with the camera microphone. The other one is linked into the main studio system. This particular keyboard is the one that I use to create the music for my videos, usually the painting videos. I switch it on and think about the painting video and just play. I can do that because I've been playing for a long time. I approach keyboard playing in exactly the same way as I approach everything else in my life. I take the simplest option, and that used to include girlfriends. It's a bit of a failing, but it works for me. Even though Christmas is over, I think I'll have a quick peal of tubular bells because it's now January the 3rd, and it's 2021. Enough of this frivolity, now time to get down to how this thing works. It's split into 2 halves. This is the right half. This is on the right-hand side of the keyboard, and the push buttons in the centre bank, marked voice, allow you to select the instruments that you want to play with. As I play the same 2 chords on the keyboard and press the buttons, you can hear the sound changing. A lot of people get very intimidated when they see so many buttons to press on a machine. These Tyros 4s and the PSR series come on the market quite frequently because a lot of people who buy them are not young. They're sucked in by the capabilities of the instrument from the really flash demos that appear online. Then people will often go out and buy these keyboards, but they won't know how to work it. So often, after a short while, they put them up for sale. Over to the left hand side and you see one of the banks in the middle is labelled Style. This is where the Tyros 4 gets really good. To start with, I've pressed the Pop and Rock button. I've also selected Auto Accompaniment and pressed one of the intro buttons. And when I hold down a very simple chord called a triad in the left hand, this is what happens. I didn't play anything, I just touched the intro button and after a while I pressed the outro button. And you have a choice of 3 intros and 3 outros. This is the display in the centre of the keyboard where you can select things. And here I've selected a style called hard rock. Once the intro's finished, it just carries on playing a rhythm complete with all the instruments until you turn the keyboard off, or until you press another chord, then it will change chord. That's what I'm doing at the moment. For those of you out there who are very musical, you'll see how simple this is. It's just C, F and G. I'm really thinking about making a video series showing people how to play keyboards like this. A few simple rules, a bit of practice, and you too can play like this on a Tyros 4, or any other automated keyboards for that matter. That was just one example of a style. On a Tyros there is an alphabetical playlist that you can scroll down and type in real song titles, and it will give you an approximation of the rhythm for that song. This is a generic rock and roll rhythm, and don't forget, for every style that you select there are 4 variations. Some of them are really good. I'm not pressing the variation buttons on these. These are just a selection from the main menu. And again, I'm playing really elementary simple chords, followed by pressing the outro button. I'm going to show you something. You'll be surprised by this. All you have to do is play 6 notes at a time with your left hand. You could even use a piece of wood for this. You need to play 6 notes, that's all white ones. And this is what happens. When my hand appears in the clip, it's because I'm pressing a fill-in button before I change the chord. Then all I do is just move my hand and hold another 6 notes down, 1 white note up from the bottom. I really do not need the added advantage of having 5 fingers for this job. As I mentioned earlier, I could use a piece of wood. And this time, without pressing the fill-in button, I move the position of the block of 6 notes by 1 more white note. What could be simpler? This, by the way, works on every type of automatic keyboard, from a really cheap one to a really top-line one. The keyboard is always working out what the chord is, and it gets a bit confused because it will generally use the bottom note as the key note. So if you start to look at these technically, these are very complicated chords. In the next video of the series, a simplex converted to a Great Western Railway prairie tank, I'll be making a painting video, and I'll be using the music from this video for that, but you'll see a lot more painting, and possibly some unpainting as well. Some viewers may be getting a bit frightened about this so-called high-tech. Well, it's not really high-tech. Look at this. My left hand holds down groups of 6 white notes, and I'm using just 1 finger to play a melody at the top. It really cannot get any simpler than this. Even Captain Hook could play a good tune on this keyboard. The problem with music tutorials is I cannot use any copyright music. And quite rightly so, my music is copyright to me. I showed this technique to a friend of mine who's not a keyboard player and can't play at all, and he was quite amazed, and I had to drag him off the keyboard in the end. And don't forget, this technique works for every style. I'm just using a really nice soothing and relaxing style, and there are many styles on the Tyros 4. I soon got fed up of using one finger, so I'll use a few more. To be able to do what I'm doing with my right hand, yes, you need to practice, and you need to be able to tell your brain what to do with each finger. And people say, am I too old to learn? And I say, no, definitely not. I've done a bit of keyboard tuition in my time. The oldest person I've ever taught to play was 76 years old. He bought a Tyros 4 and he never looked back. Like everything, the more that you practice the sequences, the better you generally get. Now to take it to the next level. If currently you cannot play, don't worry. It is easier than you think. I'm making a few mistakes because I'm basically making this up as I go along. That's it for this special feature. Stay healthy, thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.